What's up, y'all? Today we're here to talk about Xbox and their interesting change to raise pricing on Game Pass. Let's get into it. So 2025, I think we can all agree, has not been the best year. We continue to see prices on everything rise, it seems like day after day. And, we started to see with game prices overall from Nintendo starting off at $100 out the gate. And now we're kind of seeing changes to subscriptions, which technically we've already seen Sony change up their subscription plan, as well as Nintendo also hiking up theirs. So here comes Xbox doing the same thing. So with Xbox, as of June 2024 to June 2025, they were able to pull in $5 billion in revenue from Game Pass alone. No consoles, which technically those are sold at a loss, but or any game sales. We're talking strictly Game Pass. They've made $5 billion and they have reportedly 34 to 35 million players who are subscribed, or people who are subscribed to Game Pass. So they're affecting 35 million players with this decision. And I guess technically the entire gaming space, but like I said, Nintendo and Sony have also done their thing too. So, but yeah, let's move forward. So if you're thinking what I'm thinking, if they made $5 billion, why do they need more money from the players? I mean, Microsoft alone makes a ton of money just from selling PCs and just having Windows loaded on everything. Why does Xbox need more money? All right, so I want you guys to focus on this green box right here. We're going to break down the prices first, and then we'll circle back to the why. So in here, or let me give you this paragraph. So today's Game Pass core subscribers will automatically move to Essential, which is right here, $9.99 a month. So I'm assuming it was even lower than that. Standard subscribers will transition to Premium, which is $14.99. So again, I'm imagining it's probably a little bit lower than that. And then Ultimate subscribers here will remain on the Ultimate plan, which they are at $29.99. Now, from what I've seen in the social media space, a lot of people saying going from $11.99 to $29.99 is outrageous, right? And I haven't seen anyone really correct that. I've seen like the general consensus seems to be like this is greedy and they're not with it. So I'm assuming that the bulk of those 35 million subscribers are probably on the Ultimate plan. And honestly, $11 a month sounds pretty good for about $100 a year, especially kind of getting games every month. You can kind of, it's almost like demoing. You get demos or you can play through the whole game and then you just move on from it. It seemed like a good deal to me. And I could understand why they were able to amass 5 billion. But now that things are changing, players going from $11.99 to $29.99, that is a big leap. And what's also really interesting is if you pull up this Reddit thread, which I'll put it on the screen here, you'll look at this screenshot here from it's Jake04. And I was looking for this as soon as I heard about the $29.99. I was looking for this and I was really curious about like what's the yearly option look like, because typically with PlayStation and Nintendo I just do yearly, so it's like 50 bucks for Nintendo and then like PlayStation's like 70, 80. I can't remember off the top of my head and it's not that important, then I go look it up. So I was like, what's the yearly option, because 29 times 12 is a lot of cash which I don't feel like doing the math. But a yearly option is usually what people go to. It's kind of like they build it like that on purpose so that like you go towards yearly. So whether or not you use the service, they get your money for the year versus, paying monthly and then cutting it off whenever, you get what I'm saying? So it looks like they removed, based off the screenshot that I have on screen for you guys, which, I'm sure you've been looking at it, they got rid of the yearly option. And then this is super important. Let me read this for you guys. For those of you who don't know, before Game Pass was renamed and put up the price increases, there used to be a 1, 3, and 12-month plan for the formerly named Game Pass Core. But now they have changed the game. They've changed the names and prices. They have also removed a 12-month option for Essential plan. So your choices, or it says chooses, but your choices are very limited when it comes to choosing your plan now. It's either 1 month for Essential, Premium, Ultimate, or PC, and only one option for 3 months, which is the Essential plan. So they're really kind of strong arming the $29.99 is what I'm seeing. All right, so we got one piece of the puzzle where now we understand how much money they made and we understand the changes that are coming to the prices. So let's look at the why. So I'm gonna be honest with you, this sounds like a bunch of company jargon, kind of BS, word vomit, mouth or word salad type stuff. So, I mean, it says here, we know not everyone wants the same thing in their Xbox experience, so we're evolving the Game Pass to offer more flexibility, choice, and value to all players. Now, keep in mind that they just removed the yearly option and they kind of gutted a couple of things in the last thing I showed you from the Reddit thread, which I'll have a link to that in the description if you want to go click on it and kind of go down that rabbit hole, right? Whether you love day one releases, discovering hidden gems, or playing across multiple devices and screens and across Xbox consoles, or excuse me, across Xbox consoles, PC, and Xbox Cloud. This kind of makes me think they're going to be bringing in the handheld, which I heard it was getting canceled or like pushed back or something like that. I've heard mixed things, but I am not. Oh, okay. I was about to say is my phone going to stop, but I'm not 1,000% sure on that. But moving on and circling back to what I was saying earlier, I mean, they say it's flexibility, but like, it's clearly a lie to the players. I actually did the math, and $29.99 times 12 came out to about $359 a year for Ultimate, which is absolutely insane. Because if you go on Google and you search for Xbox Game Pass cards, like Xbox themselves, as far as I can see on the internet, I have an Xbox that thing's a paperweight. I haven't plugged it in ages. I know if I do, it's gonna take like 2 days to finish all its updates, and it's not gonna have any space. But when I was browsing on the internet trying to find like where is the yearly option for Game Pass, I found some cards and stuff that you could use for like $89, $90, depending, like small variations in pricing, but around, like right around under $100. And if that's how much you were paying for Ultimate all this time leading up till now, you were eating good. $100 for all of this is amazing. But jumping from $100 all the way up to, what was it, $359 a year is insane. That is a insanely greedy increase. And like, I don't know if this is going to kill Game Pass. But that is a ginormous run. I might put some stuff up on the screen just showing the pricing if I have the time. But it's just like, that is egregious, man. And for flexibility, I've never heard an Xbox player say like, "Oh, dude, I wish I had online without day one games for free." Like I've never heard someone say that or the opposite. I've never heard anyone complain about their Game Pass, about what's included in it. The only thing I'll say is that people will sometimes say that the Xbox Game Pass lineup isn't great. Which, to be fair, coming up in these next few months, which you still can't really use that in past conversations, but coming up, they have a lot of interesting games coming to Game Pass that is a little bit tempting to me. But overall, it's like the main complaint is like the catalog isn't strong. This doesn't necessarily fix the catalog at all. Like it's just more games. You know what I mean? Like it's just more. You're just paying more money for what they've already given you. I don't know. You could argue that the price increase is to make it to where they can give more money to studios to try to entice them to join Game Pass. Because I've heard mixed things about that part too, where they offer like a one-time payment, or maybe the payment kind of is residual, where it's based off how many downloads they get. It's based off. Now, what I will say with Game Pass is that seeing the price increase so that they could try and pull in and entice other studios to put their game on Game Pass is technically a possibility, and that is a real thing. But if you have $5 billion, if you made $5 billion in Game Pass money alone, I would think that $5 billion will most likely cover studio costs. And that's in 1 year. You're telling me that you're going to spend more than $10 billion? Not 10 billion. I should say 5. You're going to spend more than $5 billion in 1 year trying to pull games into the catalog. I highly doubt that. They were already doing that, and they still made $5 billion. So like, I find it hard to believe that they're spending that much money to justify increasing the price. I mean, this just feels like pure greed. Circling back to the games that do join Game Pass, I mean, it seems like it's kind of detrimental to some. I've seen just vague reports and things on it because they don't reveal that information. But there have been reports suggesting that some studios have lost about 80% of their potential sales by joining Xbox Game Pass. Because, if like, why buy it when you can play it on Game Pass? And if you don't like it, you uninstall it, whatever, or you play through it and you uninstall and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? It's like, essentially, you're kind of paying for demo access in a sense. So it's like, I can see that hurting more times than not. And they offer you a lump sum, but I mean, is that lump sum really going to match, what you could have got if you just would have put it out there and then you get all the money? You know what I mean? And your game is out there for you, and people can buy it whenever they feel like it, months later. I don't know how it works with Game Pass. I don't know if they give you a lump sum and then your game is stuck on Game Pass. I feel like you make most of your money during that launch window, and then after that, whatever you get is just kind of like icing on the cake, realistically. So I don't know. I feel like for developers, if you're a really small studio and you're trying to get out there, niche opportunities, sure, it's great for you. You take a lump sum, they slap it on there. But if you're a fairly maybe upper small, medium, mid-sized studio or higher, it's probably not worth it. That's just my 2 cents. But for flexibility, and they're not really offering a whole lot because all they're doing is increasing the pricing, and I don't think they're really adding any new features. I mean, Ubisoft Classics and EA Play, Ultimate Cloud Gaming, like who's cloud gaming? In-game benefits including Riot Games, so maybe like a skin or something like that. Like it's never been anything good. Like what are we getting? It seems like they moved the day one stuff over to the ultimate, which we would argue was already there. So I don't know. It just kind of seems like this kind of just seems like a scam, honestly. Just looking at it, like there's just no way around it. I kind of hope that this hurts their Game Pass quite a bit. I hope the gamers boycott with their money and say, no, I'm not going to play this because, I mean, all they said was they're offering more flexibility. So you're rearranging the features and stuff like that so you can kind of pick what you want while simultaneously hiking up the prices. Why not just separate the plans into what you think the players want and leave the price the same? Like, why was there a need for a price increase? I highly doubt players are asking for a price increase. But yeah, I think that's my 2 cents. After really sitting down and talking through it, it just kind of seems like they are extremely greedy right here. I mean, I know Xbox has been struggling, but like I don't think that increasing from 11 to 29 is the play, especially with 35 million subscribers who now have to all take a look at their Game Pass. People who are already struggling to get by and have to make decisions. Now they're going to look and say, do I need this $29 bill a month, or do I need to put that towards food, gas, or another bill? They're obviously going to drop this, and they'll probably just gonna go back to either drop down to $9.99 or just stop it all. Which $9.99 for 11 to 9 isn't as bad a hit for Xbox as dropping it completely, but I would argue most people would be upset and they would just drop it completely. But I want to hear what you think about this biblical greed that we're seeing from Xbox here, and why couldn't they just leave it alone? If you enjoyed the content, hit that sub button for me, like, comment, all that good stuff. Y'all stay safe. Peace.